Hello my fellow gamers, this is Shadow coming back with part 3 of the Skaven army breakdown, where in this episode we're going to be going over all the infantry. Okay, not all of the infantry, because Skaven don't have much cavalry and such like the other factions do. They've balanced it out by giving them a stupid amount of infantry, because that's what the Skaven factions are about, mass infantry. And so as you can see, they've got more melee infantry, or more melee missile infantry than some of the factions have all of their infantry. So what we're going to do is split that into two. While we have a video for the cavalry and chariots for the other factions, the Skaven are going to have a video, this one for the melee infantry, and then we'll have the following video we'll cover the missile infantry, because there's just so much to cover here and I want to make sure I do a good job. So let's start with the basics. Skaven slaves, they're expendable, meaning if they break, only other expendable units or other slaves will be bothered by it. They've got meat shield, which I don't think really does anything. They're just advising you, just use them to absorb charge. And they've got poor leadership, funnily enough. I've just noticed they've got armor. Now, they've got some of the worst stats I've ever seen in a game. That's quite impressive. Hide forest, they get the expendable rule. But they do have strength in numbers, which is something all Skaven infantry have, I believe. Where it's a constant ability where as long as their hit points are higher than 50%, they have plus 6 leadership, plus 8 melee defense, and those are spayed by 12%. Problem is, of course, when they go below 50 hit points, they start falling apart. They also have scurry away, so while their leadership is low, they get 12 plus speed, which is absolutely brilliant, because in battles I've played, what happens is the Skaven, I mean, I've won a battle using some Skaven slaves. It was so funny. They just kept running away, and then they would get so far away, then they'll rally, and the time you slowly walk them up to the enemy again, their leadership was okay, so they then got the, if they weren't too badly hurt, got the strength in numbers again, and just smashed them down. So, yeah, they're not bad, not bad. I mean, 125 gold, as you can imagine, 10 gold to promote them, as you can see, it's around 10 to 20. An utmost unit is 248, but why you would ever do this, I don't know. Skaven slaves are meant to be cheap infantry. I would spend that, I mean, 10 gold for each upgrade. That could easily upgrade another unit a couple of times, which would be much better off. So, you then have the Skaven slaves with spears, so they are identical, pretty much, apart from they have anti-large. That is it. They have spears. And again, upgrades around 10 points, but the slaves, I mean, the final ones you saw with like 18 gold each, that could easily get you. And to be fair, let's look at the stats. To be fair, leadership goes up a little bit. Melee defense really jumps up. And melee attack, but still probably not worth it, to be honest. As you can see, 279. Just go a little bit more to get proper clan rats, and you get so much better stats. Actually, their melee defense goes down. As I said, their melee defense did shoot up, so maybe you tear them up to give them a better defense. But with Skaven, you might as well just, if you're going to use that, use clan rats with spears. Surely. But maybe it is just a cheap option, and you could use them just to hold the line. So there we go to the clan rats. As you can imagine, these are basic sword infantry. They've got the strength in numbers and the scurry away. They're 325 basic. Around 20 odd coins to upgrade. They end up being 500 when they're at full tier. So yeah, I mean, they're still quite cheap compared to all the other infantry, and if you could tier them right up, they're probably a lot more devastating. Their leadership is a lot higher and things like that, so especially if the leadership buff might be worth it for the Skaven. You then have the clan rats with spears, so these are 50 gold more, are they? I forgot to check. No, they're only 25 gold more, but as we know, it'd probably be, yep, they've got better melee attack, weapon strength, and charge bonus because they're not holding a spear. But of course the spears have the anti-large ability, so it's up to you. 25 coin, that's not a lot of difference. And you can see though, it's more to upgrade them as well, but it gets you up to 531 in the end for 4 tier spearman unit. You then have clan rats with shields, so these guys are 50 coins more per unit, and remember they get 120 guys per unit, so that's barely a coin for every 2 or 3 Skaven. That's pretty cheap. But 375 to start. They've got only the bronze shields though, which block 35% of the fin. So that's all you'd be blocking. But since Skaven have such low armor, that 35 could make a big difference. Of course, if we up... So, just notice the first one, 17, up the leadership by 2. Then it does 1 each time. Fair enough. But up it to the maximum, 563 for a full tiered clan match of shield. Then you got the clan match of spears and shields, so they're shielded exactly the same as before, and they get the anti-large. Start at 400, so again they're 50 coins more than the normal clan match without shields. Honestly, the fact that you've got skinks, you've got high elves and dark elves all use crossbows and bow and arrows, I would say it was, unless you were going for a pure swarm army, I think the 50 gold extra per unit is definitely worth it for that 35% block. As you see, another round about 20 coin for the upgrade, 594 when complete. Now let's get to the more interesting stuff, shall we? We have the Plague Monks, 750 to begin with. They're anti-infantry, they're damage dealers, and they have frenzy. They have a physical resistance of 15%, which I don't think many people realise, but it makes sense. I mean, these are practically similar to followers of Nurgle. And as you saw in the Chaos League and the Chaos mod and everything, they have good damage resistance. And these guys kind of have the same thing. They don't really have any armour. They actually wear just robes. But it's the fact that that physical resistance. Of course, you've got strength in numbers, scurry away, and frenzy. Being immune to psychology is a big thing for Skaven. To upgrade, you're looking at around 30 gold coins. And a full tier 1 is quite costly at 1,000 gold coins for that one unit. Quite deadly. But, as you can see, their leadership is like 78. That's, for Skaven, that's high. That is high leadership for Skaven. And the fact that their defense and attack goes up as well is very good. So, now we've got the Death Runners. Now, these guys, these are interesting. They're 950, so for Skaven infantry, they're expensive. But... first of all, they have Stalk. The Concealment bombs will go in a minute. And they've got Dodge. But Weeping Blade. What does Weeping Blade do, Shadow? When they hit something, for 35 seconds, they lose half their armour. Now imagine that against Dwarfs, Black Orcs, Great Swords, things like that. They're like, yeah, we got like a load of armour. Boom, they lose half their armour. Then you swamp them with infantry. Even slaves I've seen paired up with these guys can give basic infantry a run for their money, because of course, you know, even basic armour just suddenly gets completely nearly ignored, and the Skaven slaves then can stab them repeatedly. They also have armour piercing damage for their weapons. They have a 30% physical resistance, and these guys are dodgy. They can also Vanguard deploy, so they can get into the flanks. They could not even be part of your army, but if Stalk, they could hide. What I do is hide them behind the main line, and then as we class, they then rush to the front. Once the charge has been received, they rush to the front, do that damage with the Weeping Blades, and let the rest do themselves. As they got strength and numbers still, scurry away, and the Concealment bombs. So what are they? They've got 3 of them. You can do it every 90 seconds. They last for 36 seconds. It only targets itself, but the target count is hidden. It's effective when flanking. It gives them stalk, and they have to be very close to be spotted. So what I would use this for is, let's say there was a gap between 2 sets of woods, and you want to run between that gap without being seen. Now, stalk may cover you, but it might not, and you can use the smoke bombs to cover you for that, I believe. It pretty much means you are completely hidden for 30 odd seconds. So these guys, I think are going to be they're going to be a good meta. Just as they hide behind the front lines and that, and then just jump in and use that Weeping Blade to really hurt people. So really good there. We then have the Storm Vermin, the Hellbirds. So these are the classic elite Skaven. Armoured, armour piercing, anti-large, and the charge defense against large. They have I'm just looking if they've got any things special, strength and number scary. Apart from that, they are very basic though. At 1,000 coins though to do, so quite expensive, but they're more than worth it. 30 to 40 coins to upgrade, and you see to a full unit, 1,350. Very expensive. But is it worth it? Well, at least it goes up a little bit, and the defense goes up a little bit. just thinking something I could always be doing is when I do the full thing, just go, what's a mage one? What do they gain? Well, a full rank, they gain 10 leadership, 5 melee attack, and 14 melee defense. Maybe that's something I should have been doing, having 2 of them side by side, tier the top one up, and then compare what exactly you get. But never mind, you guys can see it going up as I click on it. So next you've got Storm Vermin, Sword, and Shield, which is interesting, because normally Storm Vermin in the tabletop don't have that option. They're always of Hellbirds, that's their equipment. But I guess this is to balance it out a little bit. These are your normal fighters, and then you can use the other ones to take out the big monsters and such. They're armoured and shielded. As you can see, of course, the shields give them their 35 block, which is very important. And of course, they've got the strength and numbers and scurry away. So it's the shield and the extra defense you're paying for, really, that extra 50. And it's about 40 coins to upgrade fully. So as you can see, fully tiered up is 1,413. So, final one for the infantry, the melee infantry, is the Plague Monk Censer Bearers. Now, I've heard mixed things about this from other YouTubers, what they think about this. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But I think they said it looks good on paper, but actually in battles they're not that good, and especially for 1,100 coin. But we'll test that out at a later date. So, they have the Plague Censer, which is a fancy weapon. Armor piercing, damage dealer, and frenzy. There's only 90 of them in the group, but this is where the Plague Censer really comes in. Contaminated. So when they attack a unit, their leadership drops by 10. Well, for 10 seconds, and they have magical attacks, and they've got armor piercing, and they've got physical resistance of 15%, of course, and they've got the frenzy. So you can imagine an army of these, which is a theme I will be doing, trying out, is a purely plague army. Can be done, very good fun. Very dangerous because their leadership's quite good, and like the fact that all their stuff lowers the enemy's leadership is very, very good. These guys, as you can see, around 40 coins per level, and at the top level goes to 1,476. But you see their leadership has kind of jumped up. Their leadership has jumped up by 10, their melee attack's gone up by 6, and their melee defense has gone up by 12. So quite a difference there. So there we go. That's a quick sum up of the Skaven melee infantry. In the next episode, we will go through the missile infantry. As you can see, we are nearly done with this series. Once we've done the missiles, we'll do the beasts and war machines in one episode, and we will be done with it all. I hope you guys are enjoying this series. If you are, please leave a like below and obviously comment. Let me know what units you like the look of, which things you... And it might even, if you have questions like, oh, Shadow, what about this unit? What does this do? I want more details about it. Let me know in the comments. I'll look into it for you. And any suggestions for an army as well. You know, a different theme. Like I said, Plague Monks. I know for a fact that you can do now a Clan Moda. That's the one with the thing. Because you can just have Rat Ogres, Hell Pit Abominations, some Skaven Slaves, and a Warlord on a Bonebreaker. So it can be done, and I have done it, and there will be a video out later today of showing you that replay. It is so funny. Anyway, I've slightly deterred myself now because it's Skaven. I always get excited with them. So in our next episode, we will cover the missile infantry in more detail. Hope to see you then. Till then, take care.